What up, YouTube? Uh, it's okay. We're gonna restart that. Okay.
What is that? YouTube? Like Chris Bumstead?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Uh, it's me and Donnie G here. I don't know what else to tell you. We're in the gym, and we're about to talk about some faith-based endurance with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, we thought we'd do something a little different, and we're gonna work out, and we're also gonna talk to you. So, I thought it'd appeal to some people. So yeah. Anyways, um, yeah.
Let's get to it.
All right. So today's actually leg day, and you know what that means? It's quad focus, and so we got squats up first, as you can see the rack here, and yeah. Today we're going to be talking about endurance, as I mentioned to begin with. So yeah. In terms of like endurance, what's one thing that first comes to mind for you about that? Is there anything in particular?
I always think of Job.
Always a really good example.
Yeah. Kind of the quintessential one.
Yeah. You really like start to think about how much somebody can take, but also remain in the faith. I guess like because one thing that's always kind of been talked about a lot is not so much what is per se remaining faithful. I think observing Job, we can kind of see how it's not so much that he lived this glorious life that was just, he was always like on fire for the Lord and, like just sunshine and rainbows. It was dark. It was gritty. It was as bad as something can get without, dying. And so like faithfulness, especially even looking at it from like a romantic situation, faithfulness isn't per se, things just being sunshine and rainbows. It's remaining in union with this person, or as in this case with Job and God, communing with God despite the afflictions, despite what he's going through. And I think, again, he's like just the prime example of endurance in the faith.
I also get a glimpse at how he handles it. Because like everybody always paints a picture that like Job was a quiet, pious saint, someone on a mountaintop meditating at peace with God, even though he's lost absolutely everything in his life.
Or you know what I just noticed? We didn't even move the rack.
Huh?
We didn't even move these. They're on two different levels. Or maybe I'm schizophrenic. I don't know. Do you want to go that low, or do you want it a little higher? Because I mean, we get pretty low with it, honestly.
I was hitting this thing all day, so
Sweet.
when it was high.
I kind of stretch out my legs with the bar a little more. Get a couple more practice reps in. What about like other than Job? Like some things that kind of come to mind. People, like examples. I guess like Paul.
Yeah, pretty much all the apostles.
Yeah.
Going through countless persecution.
Right.
That most of us couldn't imagine, at least in probably like a Western society, I guess you could say. But yeah.
So, unfortunately, the recording, my phone died. So, yeah, basically. What do we basically, my phone died, what do we? To anybody who says that we did not do the squats or we didn't go up high, listen, buddy, um, suck an egg. All right. I mean, what else can I tell you? Yeah, we stacked on. As a tops 185 pounds, did 8 reps, and then we did a burnout set. So yeah, literally, hop off my case. So for endurance in the faith, one of the biggest things, we were talking about Job and talking about how he stayed in contact with God. He kept communing with the Lord despite what he was facing. And so I think really it comes down to winning the mental battle. All this pressure is being applied to his life. He's lost his children. He's kind of sort of lost his wife, I mean, in the scripture, she literally walks up to him after, he's lost just about everything and he's covered in boils and awful things. And I think she just tells him, curse God and die. Something like that, So, W wife. But, Donald here, there's a lot of pressure being applied. He's in agony, as you can tell by his face. But he's still persevering. He's staying within it. And so the key is just staying where you are, not running away and hiding from something that you're going to have to face no matter what you do. You can't run away from it. If you don't, there's no growth involved. And so it's a lot easier said than done, of course. But when you allow yourself and allow the Lord really to come into the situation and take care of you, take care of the matter, there's nothing that can really, there's nothing that can stop you at that point. And so observing Job was really just him remaining despite all of the mental struggles that he went through. He was battling depression. Bro was practically, he was suicidal, I mean, the guy just wanted the Lord to strike him down. But here's the deal with that. For one, Job is actually, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not a very literal story, is it?
It's very poetic.
Poetic in nature. So what we can derive from that is not the fact that it's a real story per se, but more so kind of like a parable. Yeah. It's meant to teach a lesson. It's a story that's meant to teach a lesson. If I'm not mistaken, the Hebrews did that a lot. They did that a lot. Spoken in stories, and I mean that's how Nathan corrected or convicted King David by telling that story about the lamb. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But God was not gambling with Job's life. It was more so God knowing the character of Job, knowing where his heart was. Satan comes into the story, he's like, God, if I do this and this and that, Job's gonna curse you, bro. Like he's gonna step away from you. But truth be told, Job knew the Lord too much to flee away. It was God wasn't gambling with Job's life. He was acknowledging Job's faithfulness and knowing that Job wouldn't sway. And so, one thing to understand too, Ephesians chapter 2 verse 1 says that Satan is the ruler of the world's operations. And so, I guess my way of thinking about that is kind of seeing how in the garden, for example, Adam had jurisdiction to name all the animals and all these other things. And Satan comes along, tempts them, And then, you know, we have the story of the fall of man. Oh, when that kind of happens, when that happened, kind of sort of Satan Satan used sin as kind of like uh, a lead for the ball and chain that was tied to man's ankle. So it was like Satan usurping power and authority that was given by God to man, but not saying that God is powerless to take that away or to do anything about that. It's just to say that man willingly gave authority to the enemy to take and usurp, to usurp them, take authority over them in a spiritual sense and in a physical sense, so to speak. Sin's consequences are both physical and spiritual.
No. So while he's pounding leg press, I'm going to share with you a verse real quick. If the camera can see me, I think so. This is James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. It says, "Consider it a great joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its full effect, so they may be mature and complete, lacking nothing." I mention that verse because a lot of people, they try to grow in God or learn more spiritually purely through the good experiences that they have, purely through the awesome times in worship, the awesome times in Bible study, preaching the word. Everybody's on fire. It's all great, and you feel like this moment can never end. What a mercy. But a lot of the times, where we learn the most and where we grow the most as a person is in our suffering, as he's demonstrating. It's the where we grow the most is through our suffering. It's through the times when we want to quit, to the times when we don't understand why God is letting this happen, or when we're like Job, like you mentioned, wanting him to strike us down or wanting to strike ourselves down. It's through those moments that we learn the most and grow the most. That only happens, though, if you're doing it by the power of God, and if you're doing it through what He's doing, not by your own willpower. You're doing it faithfully. Because if you just try to endure by yourself and you forsake God, then your suffering can grow you in some ways, but it'll probably just break you down and push you further into whatever hole you're in. Yes. But if you faithfully endure it, it actually it perfects you. It makes you complete. So you won't be complete in your growth through only the good stuff. You have to have the suffering and the afflictions and the persecution that you go through, that you faithfully endure, to be complete as a person. That's what verse 4 says. "And let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing."
Goated word. Goated word, brother. Would you like to pop on any more weight? Or are you content with where it's at? By the way, it's extremely late, and we're both gassed. So, if we're not pushing enough weight for you, sorry, buddy. I didn't know you came for the weightlifting. I'm not Sam Sulek. As hard as I'm trying to be, as much as I'm trying to be, I'm not Sam Sulek, and I never will be. But I can be like the, how do you say, faith-based Sam Sulek. Yeah, that's like a huge thing. A lot of people, I see so many people get discouraged when life isn't, I guess, like sunshine and rainbows. And I get it. Anybody gets that. It's not easy, but it's not meant to be easy. It's meant to get you to the point. I'm not saying that life has been designed in order to bring you to the Lord, per se. Because all the things that you're going through, all the things that you're facing, it's not, it can be used to bring you to God, which glorifies God. Everything works for the glory of the kingdom, for the glory of the Lord. And so, you know, your afflictions, your struggles, they can be used for the glory of God, and they're being used for the glory of God if you will allow it. Uh, it's tough, man. I'm telling you, there has been times where I've gotten to the point where I just don't want to be alive, bro. A lot of people get to that point, and especially nowadays, there's a lot of mental health. The world is under the jackboot of spiritual oppression, and it needs a generation. It needs a people, young and old, who will step up and endure the hardships of life and show people that there is a way. We need pioneers, man. We need leaders. We need people who are willing to stand above all the junk that's that you're facing, and not by your will and your strength, but of course by the power of God. We're overcoming these things. We're persevering through these things, and with the help of our brothers and our sisters in the faith, it's that's how we get past. Just take a look at everything that you've come from in your life. Uh, all the hardships that you faced, all the terrible things that you've went through, that you've had to go through, and take a second to really not dwell in a why me. Never dwell in that. Honestly, never dwell in why me. Why me leads you nowhere. Not saying that you can't mourn and grieve a situation. Do that. Process the pain, process the emotions. The Lord doesn't want you to bottle something up or compress something. He wants you to be vulnerable. And so taking your time to do that, that's something that the Lord wants. But again, don't dwell in a state of why me. The point that you really want to come to when it comes to your situation, whatever it may be, is what can I do to persevere? How do we get past this? How do I get past this? Um, and realizing that you are in the hands of the Lord, man. Uh, whether things work out gloriously in this life, you always win in the end. When you are in union with God, you always win. Always. 10 out of 10 times. Because you spend eternity with the Most High. You spend eternity with the Prince of Peace. You are in union. You are rich in spirit. Whether or not if you are rich in the physical, fame, money, glory on this earth is worth absolutely nothing compared to the glory in the spirit. And those who are dead spiritually here on earth, and even those spiritually dead in a like in an actual spiritual sense, like they've passed on in the physical, but they're also dead in spirit. Those are the most bankrupt people ever, ever. It is it is a tragedy to think of that. So always, no matter what, remain in union with God despite all the junk. You don't got to be perfect. Remaining in union with God doesn't require you to be perfect. Remaining in union with God perfects you. That's what salvation is. It's it's coming to know God and dwelling in that. Not because you have shown that you can live better than others, that you've risen above. It's that you have acknowledged the highness of God. You've acknowledged what He has done in your life, and you acknowledge the sacrifice of the cross, the blood that was spilled. And so you step into that and you remain in that, not because you are perfect, but because He made you perfect. Those in Hebrews chapter 10, it talks about that. He is making holy those who have been made holy. Absolutely beautiful scripture.
I was just looking at.
Dude, when we first pulled up to the gym, I stepped out of my car and this evil bug flew at me. I think it was trying to get in my head or something and control me. It's absolutely evil, absolutely terrible. It was a June bug. And those of you that I've talked to you about it, we know about the evil June bug. I want you fellas, you guys, and to maybe like the one girl that might watch this, you need to be careful. Stay careful out there. Y'all know about the evil June bug. It'll eat your brain away. Ask Trent Nalak. He knows. He knows.
He's patient zero.
He's patient zero, literally. We got back from ministry camp. Actually, no. It was like toward the end of camp, and that guy lost his marbles. I mean, he can tell you about it. He was a witness. He was a witness. If there was like one thing I'd want you to take away from like what we talked about tonight, because I mean, I think we've covered pretty much everything that you really can talk about with endurance. Honestly, just remain in union with God. If you're having a hard time, don't be afraid to reach out to brothers and sisters in the faith. People that you can trust, those who are going to have your back. Because I've been in places before where I felt like completely alone. Everybody has a particular stage like that in their life where they just usually they just feel alone. So, but there's people like me and Donnie here who, if you ever need any kind of help, don't ever be afraid to reach out
Absolutely.
and be vulnerable and open and allow the Lord to pour into your life and to lead you to order your steps. Really, when it boils down to everything, allowing Him to come into the picture and handle things, that's where you're going to flourish. That's where you're going to get past all the adversity that you're facing. So, yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about that.